Okay, let me leap right in by starting a share screen here. So here we are in a scene, if it ever comes to life. So here we are in a scene. We've got these fancy buildings, and I want to go inside one of the buildings. And now we're inside the building. This is from the blacksmith's forge. Over here, we've got another building, a different room inside, similar decor, but a different room. So that's what I'm aiming to build here in this lecture on teleportation, kind of a second version of the teleportation. So why would we want to do this? And how would we want to do this? Well, we do this by using different scenes, similar to the way we changed the level back when we were deploying multi-level games. And the reason for doing this is obvious from the example there. We have a very detailed outdoor scene with a full terrain populated with details, trees, grass, buildings, horses, so forth. And we want to go inside one of these buildings, and we find we have a high level of detail within the room. And it would be very expensive to keep all the stuff that's inside the building, as well as all the stuff that's outside the building. And so instead, we'll teleport between these two different scenes, one that's the interior and another that's the exterior. If you had a complicated building with a lot of rooms, you could actually do this with the individual rooms of a building. This is fairly easy to do. We have our scene manager load scene command, and we use this with our menu system to choose the easy level and the hard level. We use this when we level up in a multi-level game. Now, with those scenarios, when we loaded the scene, we started with a complete scene with all the details of the world and the character initially at the plot spot we wanted the game to start. But with this scenario where we're going from one scene to another, we want to be able to take our character with us. In particular, if our player has health or point score, or a player status script that maintains your standing in the game. In order to maintain that and keep it up to date, we don't want to have a character initialized in every scene that we have. So those two scenes that we saw, the outdoor scene, three scenes, the outdoor scene and the two indoor scenes, none of them had characters to start with. Instead, what we're going to do is bring our character with us by declaring it to be indestructible with the don't destroy on load command. This is usually done in the start or awake functions, best in the awake function. And this means that our character will persist when we load another scene. And this is why we don't initialize our character in each scene. So we do need some place to start. And so we start with a scene, call it opening scene, where all we have is the character. And a script that loads the first scene of the game. So wherever we're going in the game, it's going to leave this opening scene. We could have it auto load. If auto load were true, then it would just immediately load the scene. There'd be no pause. We wouldn't even see the scene. Otherwise, we can have a trigger on an any key or buttons or something else. But this is the scene where our character comes into existence. Be aware that when you load a scene with a don't destroy on load object, that it appears in the new scene exactly where it was in the original scene. So you have to be careful in positioning your character in this opening scene so that when you transition into the outdoor scene or whatever, it appears where you want it to be in that beginning scene. So now that we're in our scene with our indestructible character, in our play scene here, our first one, we're going to have various portals. They can be doors or magic objects or teleporter pads or whatever that will tag as door trigger. And each portal's name, a name is a string, will be the same as the name of the scene that we want to teleport to. And if you recall, the load level command takes either the integers that are the scene's position in the build settings or its string name. We have that choice. We're going to use this information in the script teleport manager that will attach to our character. So let's have a look at that script.